Welcome, and thank you for joining us for our online 30-minute webinar on how you too can win the trifecta when it comes to leveraging your data to manage your government's needs and transparency goals with one solution, the Momix Performance Center. My name is David Dukes with Momix Solutions. I am a certified public finance officer with the Government Finance Officers Association and was previously employed as the Assistant Finance Director for Williamson County, Texas. I hope that my background in governmental finance will help me better explain the benefits that our solution can provide your organization. The Performance Center Suite is a cloud-based business intelligence, transparency, budget planning, and analytics suite that extracts, aggregates, and presents data in a way that can be understood, and it helps give you actionable insight and measures of your organization's performance. It not only provides self-service ad hoc reporting, but it is pre-built with the reports needed by government organizations, minimizing the complexity or need of custom IT-built reports and giving you full internal transparency to your data. In addition, it supports external financial transparency, best practices, and standards, all through an easy-to-use, mobile-friendly web interface. What makes it really unique is that it offers pre-built ERP integration and is extensible to any source of data you would like access to. And there is no license limit. Subscribers can have an unlimited number of users. Our solution encompasses full visibility to your data to support reporting, analytics, key performance indicator dashboards, budget preparation and management, and it provides a link to your website in which you can easily deploy a transparency application that follows best practice standards and content document management for your open data initiatives. Today, we will be focusing on two of our applications, our business intelligence and our transparency platforms, which will allow you to have an enterprise fiscal view of your data from two different perspectives, internal and that of your constituent. So with that, I'd like to move into the actual demonstration. This is the Performance Center welcome page. This page enables the user easy access to the budget preparation and business intelligence applications and their individual saved reports. It also gives them access to reporting in easy-to-understand business areas that they have been given security access to. Now, in this view, we have full rights and can see all of the data for reporting and analysis in financial, procurement, human capital management, and projects and grants. We can add any data in this location, such as energy, transportation, safety, anything, because we have designed the system to have pre-built connectors and analytical and KPI data models to support business operational decision-making needs. So on this page, you'll notice on the left-hand column here, under Welcome, you have access to financial data, which when you can expand it to show GL and encumbrances, fixed assets, payables, both invoices and payments, and receipts and receivables. Under procurement, of course, you'll have access to data involving purchase requisitions and purchase orders. Under people, which is actually human capital management, you have HR and payroll information, and of course this is available through security levels. And then under projects, we have project and grant reporting. Also on this start page, I want to point out the tile for My Reports here in blue. That is the repository for each individual user's unique reports that they have personalized for themselves to help them in their day-to-day job activities. Also, You can access our budget formulation and management tool through this tile, but right now I want to look at settings. If I go to settings and choose my start page, the Performance Center offers a choice of your start page, which will be the first screen that opens up upon login. One of those choices is the individual user's dashboards. Now, dashboards can be configured for any type of key performance indicator or reporting and is unique to each user. When a user chooses to make a dashboard or a set of dashboards their start page, it provides them with instant, up-to-date information upon login. So at this point, the user could select dashboards here and then save, and then the next time they log in, their dashboard will come up first, instantly. Now, I'd like to walk you through a day in the life of 3 potentially different roles in an organization and what those users might need to find out on that day. I've set up some examples that different individuals and at different levels of the organization might find useful. This first dashboard that I'm going to show you today might be used by someone on the operational level, meaning they might use this information to track and monitor day-to-day activities. The first panel shows their departmental payments by vendor name. All panels can be easily expanded by double-clicking on the title bar, so I'm going to do that with this panel so I can explain it a little bit better. This would be very useful, for example, when a department administrator receives an inquiry from a vendor concerning payment of a particular invoice. This information is readily available, up-to-date, and all-inclusive, meaning that the user could determine payment status and even if it's cleared the bank in one spot. There is no longer the need to call different departments like AP or the Treasurer's Office to answer this one inquiry. It's all right there for this user. The user, if they want to, can also move columns around on this report. Say, for example, they want to sort by vendor number instead of by vendor name. All they have to do is click the vendor number column and move it to the front. And now this report sorts by vendor number instead of vendor name. They can do the same thing with payment number, payment status, to see just the open or just the negotiable payments. They can move it around any way they want to. But let's say that the vendor calls and I need to find quickly what invoices they're looking for. I can filter out all of the other vendors. Say, for example, Office Depot is on the phone. All I have to do is click on this first instance of Office Depot and say keep only Office Depot, and now those are the only checks that have gone out. Some are still negotiable and some have cleared the bank. Let's go ahead and close this report back. Now, this data that's being used right now for operational purposes is the same data that will be published as vendor payments to our transparency platform. By monitoring these payments now, it ensures the accuracy of the data that gets published later, and it gets published at the schedule determined by the organization. The second panel shows departmental purchase orders down here on the bottom left. Departmental purchase orders and can be filtered on open or closed or both. This helps to keep track of outstanding contracts, encumbered funds, and receipts of goods and services. And again, you will see how this information moves directly into the transparency platform. One source of data. So the need for potential reconciliation between operations and transparency is not needed. It's all the same data. The third panel on this particular dashboard shows the individual departments current funds available by line item. Now, everybody needs to know what they have to spend at any given time. This information is very helpful because it not only includes actual expenditures here under actual, but it also includes the total amount of encumbrances. When you're calculating funds available, you can't just look at what's gone out the door so far. You have to look at what's been contracted to be paid the rest of the year. So that's what this does. It says my funds available is the budget less what we've already paid out, less what we've agreed to pay out to get your total funds available. And this information is up to date whenever you log into the system. You will also see comparisons between budgeted funds and actual expenditures in the transparency platform that I'll show you a little bit later. So that's the first level, the operational level. Let's go ahead and open up then the second level. This next key performance indicator dashboard has been set up as an example for a department head who needs to monitor operations, but not necessarily at the transaction level. So this example is a 4-pane dashboard that might be used by a department executive. In this case, let's say the county sheriff. The first panel is tracking budget to actual balances. Let's go ahead and open up this panel. And notice how that we have formatted on this one report under % remaining to highlight line items that may need caution or immediate attention. So for example, this red cell right here is saying there's only 8.8% left in this budget line for the year when there's 70% left in other lines. So this may need some attention. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem. I mean, it could be an annual payment that's gone out at the beginning of the year, so all the budget was expended at that point, but it still needs to be looked at to make sure that it's not an issue. Again, not only does this assist in current operations, but it validates the data before it gets published. For example, if this red highlight was showing that something was miscoded, it can therefore be fixed before it's published into the transparency platform. Let's go ahead and close this panel back. The second panel shows current expenditures by category. I think it's pretty self-explanatory here. When you hover over the pieces of pie in the chart, you'll see the totals that make it up. But let's go ahead and open panel 3, current headcount. This third panel is tracking headcount activity, which is always important when you're managing large departments. But in this case, I want to show you the drill through capability. If I was to drill through on admin tech, which has 11 people in it, I can go ahead and pull up the details for those 11 people. The drill down functionality allows the user to drill into the details. Now in this case, the employees that make up the total position count. Now, again, just like we have done in the past, we can also use all of the available fields here on the left-hand side to add to this report if needed. For example, I want to see assignment number along with employee number. So it's very simple to click and drag assignment number over to the report and drop it. And that's a current update of the report then with the assignment number included. There's also all of these measures down at the bottom here in blue for different measures that we can report on. So you have drill down, and we have demonstrated the funds available. This fields available. These fields available are on every report by function that you can print. Every Every decision cube has a comprehensive list of available fields and measures that can be incorporated by just a click and a drag into that report. So we'll go ahead and close this drill down report, and then I'll go ahead and close down this panel to look at the fourth panel. The fourth panel monitors the type of headcount being incurred over time. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open this one too because I want to show you some additional functionality. I want to point out that these graphs can also be shown in a chart format with a simple toggle switch. I click Actions over here on the right-hand side, and I show the report as a table. That's going to give me the report in a more, for lack of a better term, accountant-friendly format. But I can always put it back by clicking Actions, show as a, it'll click up and I'll show as an area. There it is. And that puts it back in the graphical format. Otherwise, the amounts that showed up in the chart will pop up when the user hovers over that particular piece of the graph on the chart itself. So let's close this one down. All right. I have one more dashboard example to show you today. This is an example I put together for entity-wide reporting. This is something that perhaps a city manager or a financial director might like to monitor. The first panel here shows the current budget for the entire entity. And the second shows revenues compared to budget. Let's go ahead and open this one. Revenue actuals versus budget. You'll see on this report, we're looking by line item. So I've got the GL object number here and the GL name. And then I have the original budgeted amount for those revenues. The functionality I want to show you here is the trending. So here on the difference between actual and budget, you'll notice that there's an up arrow or a down arrow to quickly point out which lines are over budget and which ones are under budget. Now keep in mind, this is revenues. So over budget is a good thing, so those arrows are in green. Now, closing that. The bottom two panels on this dashboard, we're looking at historical revenues versus expenditures. The lower left shows collections by fund over time, and the lower right looks at revenues and expenses year over year. Remember these reports because you'll see very similar reports in our transparency platform in just a minute that utilizes this same data. We're providing comprehensive reporting using one single source of data. The dashboards have allowed the key personnel to monitor the transactional activity and verify the data. Now they are comfortable releasing that data to the public. The same data can be published to the transparency platform on their desired schedule, for example, daily, monthly, annually. But now that you have controls and access to your own data, you can easily share this data with the public. We have pre-built the templates, aligned them to best practice standards to push the data, when approved, to an external-facing web portal that is linked to your existing website that you can design just for your organization. Now, we just looked at budget to actual earlier from an internal view. Now, through our templates, we can publish this in a way that a citizen can understand and drill into at a frequency that you determine. Typically, we see our clients wanting monthly updates, and we handle all of that scheduling for you. Momic Solutions Transparency Platform is built on best practices for what the industry says should be published and provides out-of-the-box dashboards that align to your data and industry guidelines of how to show the public that you are accountable for their tax dollars, and you support open checkbook, open budget, open revenues, along with content and document sharing so you can tell your own story to the public. No longer do you have to go extract a separate instance of the data, try and map it to a tool or another technology solution to show on your external facing web page. This is the city of Springfield. This is an example of a spending dashboard, or otherwise known as a check register. Now, in the past, many organizations publish this kind of information in PDF, but PDFs are very cumbersome and they're hard to use. Now, while this detailed information can be done through Performance Center, you can also show that data in a way that is easier to understand and drill and search into the details. The user can see spend data by month and also drill through that information to get at the information they need. Or they can use the quick search. For example, if I was a constituent for the city of Springfield and I was looking at total spending, I could go down here and find the total spending for the Agency of Public Works. That's what I'm interested in. So I want to click on Public Works. And now I'm seeing total spending for just that agency. Now I can look by vendor for Public Works to look at all of the payments that have gone out, or I can select a vendor. The other thing I want to show you for spending that I just mentioned is we can use this quick search up at the top. So let's say, for example, I want to look at all payments made to Spacely Sprockets. Very quickly, all of the payments that are in the database for Spacely Sprockets show up, and they show it in a check format. So not only can I get the department that paid it, I can get the check amount, the agency it was done, and when it was paid. You'll also notice here on the left-hand side other types of filters that I can filter out some of these payments. So if I'm looking for these payments that only concern the Water Resources Agency, I can click on that. Of course, Spacely Sprockets is already clicked as a vendor filter, but the other filters are over here on the left-hand side. This is very helpful, or let me say very much more helpful to a user instead of having to use a normal PDF report. You'll also notice that the detail shows up in an open checkbook, check register format. The user can see what exact payments make up an individual balance. All the data can also be easily exported for their own use or other open data initiatives by clicking the export button right here, and you can easily download that data. I find the advanced search very helpful. For example, we used to get a lot of public information requests on, let's say, for example, expense reports for a certain elected official. Well, now they no longer have to call your organization and put you through that cost of pulling all those expense reports. They can go directly into the system, type in that elected official's name, and all of a sudden, all of their expense reports pop up. Saved countless hours in PIO requests. So let's look now at the Budget tab. We've looked at spending, so let's open up Budget. Now this is an example of a budget dashboard which provides the ability to compare budget to actual variances of current activity in sum and in detail by line item. For example, the Public Works Department head has already validated these numbers through the Performance Center dashboards. The user can easily scroll down and across to see where that department is in relation to the approved budget. So here for the total Springfield, you'll see by agency their adopted budget, their modified budget, and their committed. But if I wanted to look at, let's get that back. If I want to look at just what's been expended, then what pops up is the total adopted budget and then the modified budget plus the actual expenditures, but it's given to me by agency. So I've got the department, the adopted budget, the modified budget, and if I scroll down to the bottom, I can see all of the information that goes across to the right. And the filters, just like on spending, are on the left-hand side, and it is all exportable very easily. So we've published the budget and expenditure data. Now let's look at revenues. Remember, we're able to analyze both current year collections of taxes, fees, fines, and other types of revenues through Performance Center, so we're able to publish validated data. That's hard to say 3 times fast. Validated data. All right. Here we go. So revenues. When I click on revenues for the total entity of Springfield, I get the charts, and then just like on spending, I get the agencies, the adopted budget, the modified budget, and what's been recognized so far by agency. And all of those, the same filters and sorts exist for revenue that existed for spending. Featured trends. Here I'm going to open up our featured trends. Now our transparency platform allows publishing of trend data. Now many of these reports are required for the stats section of a CAFR. Here you'll remember we tracked revenue and expenditures in Performance Center. We also tracked property tax collections. Not only can these reports be used by constituents, but since the data is part of the entire Performance Center functionality, your internal users can take advantage of this data here or in Business Intelligence. So in this report, you'll notice we're looking at revenues versus expenses year over year, and the user can use this little slider to look at just the years that they want to see. Or they can do it old school and put the years up here at the top and filter on just those years. At the bottom, you'll see some other types of reports. For instance, we looked at tax collections in Performance Center. Here is the trend data for those revenues that we've already seen and validated in Performance Center, showing up on the trend data. In addition to drillable dashboards of information, we also support your ability to upload the documentation you want shared with the public. You can create links back to the departmental web pages and insert content describing more about your organization or explanations of performance to give a taxpayer a better understanding of your story. Now, one of our clients, Williamson County, has implemented Open Checkbook, but they are also taking advantage of our functionality to upload their own documents and content in order to tell their story. As one of the fastest growing counties in the nation, Williamson County had issued larger than normal amounts of debt per capita. Looking at just the numbers, taxpayers, potential investors, rating agencies, and others might have been hesitant to approve of the issuance of additional debt. However, since they were able to tell their story effectively, they were able to complete a successful bond election, maintain their AAA rating, save millions in borrowing costs, and promote responsible growth. Now this slide shows where they were able to make various reports available through our transparency platform to anyone who wanted to see them. This screen print tells the story behind the debt and lets the user see that 25% of the outstanding debt is actually pass-through debt to the state of Texas and will not be a burden to the county taxpayers. Facts that aren't evident when looking at just the numbers. And this screen print shows how we were able to link to the rating agency to provide the actual reports the rating agency submitted, putting all of the necessary information in one convenient location. I want to thank you for sharing your time with us today. We would be happy to schedule a time individually with you to show you more of the functionality of Performance Center, or please join us on one of our upcoming monthly webinars. Our goal is to make government's work life easier and more connected by giving you easier access to the data that drives your performance through business intelligence, transparency, and budget formulation and management. Should you need additional information, please don't hesitate to call or click. We hope to be hearing from you soon. Have a great day.